It's Big Board Sports with Roger Wyland on 104.5 The Team.
Welcome back to Big Board Sports. New England Patriots, the beat goes on even when they don't play an A game, even when Tom Brady is less than 100%. They still figure out a way to win. That's what the good/great teams do. We are joined by John Sapochetti, the host of Boston Herald Drive, popular guest of ours here on Big Board Sports, talking New England Patriots. And we'll get into the Dion Lewis storyline as well with John. Good morning and welcome to Big Board Sports, John. Thanks for a few minutes.
Good morning, anytime.
Hey, listen, after another game-winning drive for Tom Brady, do Patriot fans, let me start here, do they kind of subconsciously take this guy for granted? Do you? Does everybody else? The performance week in and week out of the likes of a Tom Brady?
When they were down in the fourth quarter, you just expected he was going to find a way to win, and he's been doing this now for 16 years. The first year he played for the Patriots, of course, 2001, which was his second season. You could have been in kindergarten, and now you would be getting ready to graduate college, and he's still doing the same thing over and over and over again at 39 years old. The guy is just truly amazing. Look, he missed the first 4 games because of a suspension. He's come back, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, he's certainly in the running for league MVP along with Prescott and Elliott in Dallas, and I would also throw in, of course, Derek Carr with the Raiders. Those are your 4 leading candidates. No, people have taken this guy for granted. Even the franchise has taken him for granted because they've spent so much draft capital over the years on defense, trying to repair that defense. Oftentimes it's just like, well, don't worry about it because Tom will take care of things on offense. When Nate Solder was out last year, they played most of last year without a single first-round pick on offense. You know, of course, we know Brady was a 6th-round pick, Gronkowski a 2nd-round pick. So they've spent the draft capital on defense. That still has issues. Tom Brady takes care of the rest. As my colleague Ron Borges, our great columnist at the Boston Herald, says, he is the parish priest. He forgives all sins.
John Sapochetti with us. We're talking New England Patriots here, and he's the host of Boston Herald Drive. Localizing the Patriots a little bit here, John. We have our guy running back Dion Lewis back in the mix, healthy and back playing and making contributions. Tell me the role now for Dion Lewis here down the stretch.
Well, this gives Tom Brady yet another weapon. And you look at their backfield, and you always think, of course, of the Patriots, the skill position players around Tom Brady. And, of course, Gronkowski, who was always an injury concern, Martellus Bennett, who was a monster himself. Those are 2 great tight ends. You look at the receiving core, pretty deep when you've got Edelman, Amendola, Hogan, of course, who played for the Bills and has been very productive here. And then you throw in a rookie like Malcolm Mitchell, they have even more weapons. But now in that backfield, you've got the hammer and blunt. You've got James White, who's very versatile, and now you've got an explosive player coming back in Dion Lewis. The first half of last year, he was exceptional. That's when this offense was really clicking on all cylinders. He gives them that explosiveness out of the backfield. He can run. He's more of a running threat than White. He's also as good, if not a better, pass catcher than White. He gives them a weapon they, quite frankly, haven't had in a long time, probably not since Kevin Falk was here, of course, in the early 2000s. He's that versatile a player, and he has the ultimate trust of Tom Brady. He is going to be a major weapon if he stays healthy, and I think you've seen the first 2 weeks that he's come back, they're using him in small doses, not to, expose him to injury, give him maybe 20, 25 snaps. That number can go up as we get closer to the postseason. But Dion Lewis, an exceptional player. As long as he stays healthy, he will give the Patriots that much more of a weapon for other teams to combat once we get into December and into the postseason.
Well, you're talking about December and talking about the postseason, John. Last week, Oakland did have the number 1 spot in the AFC. I believe New England has it back now with the tiebreaker. But is there any concern if the Patriots do, in fact, finish second and prospectively would have to travel to Oakland? Is that a dangerous scenario from your perspective?
That's a great question. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Oakland come here, though, for the AFC Championship game and have more snow like they did 15 years ago, except Adam Vinatieri wouldn't be here to try to win the game. It would be Steven Gostkowski, which I think most Patriot fans don't still have much confidence in Gostkowski compared to Vinatieri, who was so instrumental in those 3 Super Bowl wins. Sure, I mean, let's look at it, though, guys. The Patriots, since 2005, have played exactly 3 games on the road in the playoffs. They played in the AFC Championship games in 2006, 2013, and 2015. They lost all 3 of those games on the road to Peyton Manning. So they haven't won a road playoff game since 2006 when they beat the Chargers in the divisional round. Now, they've only played 3 games because they're normally a 1 or 2 seed and normally just have home field advantage throughout. That would be a concern. Oakland, look, their offense is elite. Their defense is a concern if you're a Raiders fan. But the thing is, someone like Khalil Mack can do as much damage as Von Miller did to Tom Brady in last year's AFC Championship game, because I'm still not really totally sold on that offensive line. It's been good, not great. So, sure. Any time you have to play on the road is kind of a negative because you can't control the crowd, obviously. On offense, you have to deal with crowd noise. And obviously, if this is the AFC Championship game, Patriots at Oakland in mid to late January, we know how big that crowd is going to be riled up for that. So, sure, if the Patriots can do what they're supposed to do and hold home field advantage, that'll give them that much better chance to get back to that 7th Super Bowl under Brady and Belichick.
John, how about defensively right now? How good is New England defensively?
Big question mark, guys. I know they're 3rd in points allowed, but, they've been a sieve-like. They haven't really faced many good offenses this year. They finally faced a good quarterback a couple weeks ago, and Russell Wilson put 31 on the board against them in that Sunday night game. And then 2 weeks later, Russell Wilson was only able to put 3 points on the board against Tampa Bay. They haven't faced really that many good quarterbacks. The game they played against Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger was out. They're allowing too many yards for my liking, and people around here say, well, they have a bend-don't-break defense. They're 3rd in points allowed. Well, the problem is, if you go back to Super Bowl 46, I believe yards matter. In that game, the Giants controlled the clock. Even though they weren't scoring a lot, they would put together 8, 9, 10-play drives, punt, and give the Patriots bad field position. Average starting position, field position in that Super Bowl for the Patriots was their own 15-yard line. You'd much rather go 60 yards than 85 for a touchdown. So that's my concern with this defense. And also, Patriots defenses over the years have been very, very good at taking the football away. Well, this year in 11 games, only 11 turnovers. That's 1 a game. This is a defense that normally would create 2 turnovers. They just don't have many playmakers, if any, on defense. That is a concern, especially if you're going up against an Oakland Raider offense, which is elite with Derek Carr and the crew he has with him, with that very good offensive line and a great receiver like Crabtree and Amari Cooper. I mean, that could be a major concern, getting in a shootout with the Oakland Raiders on the road in the AFC Championship game, if that is the matchup. But this defense, it's not as good as it was 2 years ago. They don't have Darrelle Revis. They don't even have Brandon Browner on there to be a physical presence, and they don't have the pass rush they had even last year, where they were 3rd in the league in sacks. This year, they're in the bottom 5 in sacks. So, sure, this defense is still a major concern, but you can blame Belichick, the GM. He decided to trade his best pass rusher in the offseason, and then perhaps his most physically gifted player a couple of weeks ago. He's a great coach, but talent does matter.
Talking with John Sapochetti, host of Boston Herald Drive. How do you look at the entire AFC picture right now, John?
Well, you've got the 2 teams that are 9-2, and again, they're somewhat similar. Neither has a great defense. Patriots schematically probably have a slightly better defense, but they don't have a player like Khalil Mack who can take over a game. Pittsburgh, if Pittsburgh seems to be 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. I mean, their defense is still a concern. If Roethlisberger's healthy, I don't think people want to play them, to say the least. The AFC is just not as deep as the NFC this year, guys. I keep looking at the Patriots and trying to find ways that they don't go to the Super Bowl, and I keep coming back to who's going to beat them, especially if they have the AFC Championship game here. The team that has given them the most trouble over the years has been the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens are 6-5. They come in here in 2 weeks on a Monday night game, but it's still not the same team that beat them in the AFC Championship game a couple years ago. That's a team that, again, is not frightened to come to Gillette Stadium and win, but I don't think they have the talent level to do that as well. Pittsburgh, maybe, with Roethlisberger. Look, the South is a disaster. Maybe the Titans end up coming out of there somehow. In the West, they're going to battle each other. Maybe Kansas City comes out on top in that division, if that's possible, because they're all kind of playing each other down the stretch. But does Kansas City really frighten you? They came here last year with an 11-game winning streak, and they lost in the divisional round. It wasn't a blow-up, but it was a comfortable win by the Patriots. I don't think they have the weapons to really bother the Patriots defense. So, it's almost like there's no one else that can beat them. So by default, they may be representing the AFC in certainly a down year.
Yeah, I agree with all of the above. It's going to be New England when it's all said and done. Hey, John, thanks for a few minutes on Big Board Sports here in Albany. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll get back in touch.
Anytime, fellas.
Thank you, John. John Sapochetti, host of Boston Herald Drive.